Hey creatives, and welcome to Magical, Mystical, Mythical Monday, and we are continuing our celebration of Black History Month, and today we're talking African mythology. Let's get started. Alright guys, so I know this is Black History Month and I understand like it should be specifically about African American, but you can't have African American without African, and this tribe that I'm talking about today has captured my imagination since I was a very young child. So we will be talking about the Maasai Tribe of Kenya and Tanzania. And just as a little note, the reason that this tribe has captured my imagination is because one of the movies I saw when I was very young had a portion of it where they dealt with the Maasai, and that was Hatari. It's a John Wayne film. I'll link it in the description below. Not so good for animal rights people, but at the time it was made, it was still pretty poignant, and it had John Wayne in it, and at that time, I love John Wayne. So I'll link down to in the description below to it if you want to check it out. But there's a part where they go to visit this tribe, and it was the Maasai tribe, and ever since then, anytime I see anything with them, I'm just kind of really intrigued by that. So that's why I decided we're gonna do Magical, Mystical, Mythical Monday on African mythology. On top of that, I feel like a lot of times when writers or filmmakers or any creative in general is looking at mythology, it's very easy to be drawn to Egyptian and Greek and Roman, and Norse. These are the ones that we're commonly talking about. And I think there's such an untapped knowledge and coolness in African mythology. Like even just researching these, I didn't know anything. So I think if you're looking for something that's a little outside of the box, maybe check in African mythology, check into the different cultures and see what they were doing, because it's so easy, like I said, to fall into the typical mythology to base anything off of, that sometimes we forget to look at the places. And not only Africa, there's Indian mythology. All these mythologies are so underutilized and undertapped. You could get so much awesome stuff from it. Now, with that being said, we are going to do a 5x5, and then we are going to talk about 5 cool facts about the Maasai tribe. But before we do that, if we have never met, my name is Kim, and I'm a creative freelancer with a passion for film and the written word. And if we have met, welcome back. Let's go ahead and jump into the 5x5, and this is going to be a really quick 5x5. I'm just going to give you 5 African mythological creatures that I think you should check out. That's it. The stories behind them are so interesting. I say, when you get these 5, go run, Google them, see what they're about. I mean, maybe it'll spark something, trigger something that will ignite a story in your mind, like or challenge your imagination. That is what I feel when I read mythology, any type of mythology, but this mythology, because it's so new to me, just has sparked so much interest in trying to utilize it in other ways. So let's get started. 5x5 African mythological creatures. Number 1 is going to be the Atsi, which is the African mythological version of a vampire. Number 2 is the Oloko. It was really hard to describe, so just Google it, because I think you're going to really find it interesting. Number 3, Asaman. And Asaman are kind of like witches and vampires like pushed together. It's kind of a cool concept. Number 4 is hold on, I always have problems with this one, the Bleda, which is like were-hyenas, which, okay, why not, right? We like werewolves, were-hyenas, it's cool. Number 5 is the Aziza. And this was really cool because I just had never thought about that, but they're like fairies. They're African mythological fairies. So those are 5 mythological creatures that you could utilize, check out, research, let them help you build your imagination. All right, guys, so now we're going to start talking about the Maasai. And the Maasai tribe are still a semi-nomadic culture in Kenya and Tanzania, and they are probably one of the more well-known of the African tribes. So let's get started with the 5 cool facts that I found out when I was researching the Maasai. Number 1 is cattle to them are deemed super important because of their creation myth. And their creation myth, it's more in depth than this, but I'll give a little spin on it. Their creation myth basically has the earth and the sky were at once with an Ingai, I think that's how I think I'm pronouncing it that right, was the creator, and everything is at once. Well, one day the earth and the sky separated, which means the grass was on the ground, but Ingai and the cattle were in the sky. So cattle were very sacred to him. So in order to keep them alive, he sent them down to earth on the roots of a sacred fig tree, I do believe, and the Maasai were there to ensure that his cattle remained fed and well kept. So that's why cattle is so important to them. They were a gift from God to the tribe, and therefore any type they eat or they use it for sustenance or whatever they use, it is like they are joining with the Nagai, which are the gods, and so it's very sacred. It's very important to them. Number 2, upon birth, each person is given a guardian spirit. They believe there's a guardian spirit for everyone, and that at birth it attaches to you, and it's there to guide you on a specific path. That's kind of cool. So you always have like a guardian angel or a guardian spirit or, you know, whatever you believe in with you from birth. Like the minute you're pushed out of the canal, you have it. Number 3, the Laban, the spiritual leader, is the direct contact for communion with Ingai, which is God, the creator. The spiritual leader is called a Laban. And once again, guys, I hope I'm pronouncing these right. If not, if any of you guys know, please in the description below, go ahead and let me know phonetically how to say them, because I would really love to be able to make sure I'm saying them right. Okay, so number 4. So like I said, they believe that Ingai gave him cattle as a gift, as a duty to protect. And so therefore, in the Maasai culture, wealth is dictated by cattle. So how many cattle you have is how wealthy you are, which I think is kind of an interesting, very non-modern way to think about wealth. And so that's kind of cool. Number 5, the last cool fact about the Maasai tribe. Remember back to number 2, was it number 2, number 3, when I said that they believed that cattle were sacred and any type of joining with them was like the human and the Nagai joining? Well, because of that, they also traditionally drank the cow's blood, you know, and though we might be squeamish about that now, you have to think about it from their point of view. Like, blood is like life, right? So if the cattle are gifts from the gods and you're drinking the blood, you're basically drinking life from God. And so that would be completely reasonably sacred. So guys, that's 5 cool facts about the Maasai tribe. If you're interested in finding out more, I'll link to a couple articles and stuff down below, as well as a couple books and stuff on them. By the way, guys, anything that I link to down below, some of them will be affiliate links, and so thank you ahead of time for supporting the channel. I was so glad to be celebrating Black History Month with you guys. That is it. If you dug the video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you're digging on Magical, Mystical, Mythical Monday, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And please join me for the rest of the month as I continue to celebrate Black History Month. And if you're liking the content, join me for the rest of the time too. I do a lot of cool stuff. And guys, that's it. Creatives, until next time, safe journeys.